Okay, so Rishi, this is the agenda that we will follow for this 14 to 16 hours, whatever we take to finish it. Okay, and yeah, as I said, let's try to close it in 2 weeks' time, and maybe we planned 1 hour, but yeah, as long as you and me both flexible, few days we can attend more than an hour, and so that we are able to finish it in 2 weeks' time. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you look at the agenda, very much what I have included is everything that FSC offers, right? I will not be going outside FSC. I'll limit the discussion to FSC. But if you have question outside FSC as well, I can try to answer. Yeah.
My questions outside of FSC is going to be mostly on the what do you call it, on the infrastructure part, which I don't want to know about the functionalities. That pretty much even I am aware of. I'm not saying that I know everything, but I'm aware of. But what I'm saying is, like for example, today, if I'm building a custom application for my KYC thing, right? We haven't yet we're not going down the path of financial services cloud. I'm doing this so that I can be more knowledgeable. That's the reason why I'm doing financial services cloud, because we don't know when this might come in handy. Because initially we had done a good study about the financial services cloud and what it actually has. So we saw all these things that what you have on the screen right now, the householding and the the relationship that. So for KYC is a regulatory thing. So we didn't find this very suitable. So we are going with the normal Salesforce platform. So generally when we buy a Salesforce license, right? We get Marketing Cloud, Sales Cloud, Service Cloud. These applications are already there when you are going for an unlimited edition, or what do you call it? What is that? That org level license or whatever it is.
They have different licensing model. They can even customize to based on your requirement.
So when we talk about SFDC, right? When you talk about SFDC, that doesn't include financial services cloud. Am I correct?
Yeah. So they have basically they have first of all a lot of products, right? And licensing also for each product they have different licensing model. If I talk about FSC as well, so FSC you have the basic FSC license plus you have some add-ons, right? If you want to have some analytics out of the box analytics capability, that is provided by Einstein. So if you need to buy separately Einstein, there are some feature which may be enabled through Omni Studio. You need a separate license. But when you talk to Salesforce, you can get customized license as well, right? Based on what you need for your organization, they can customize it. I think they don't have a kind of generic kind of a license. I think they can make it suitable for you. Basically, that's what I know. But in general, they have a lot of different licensing model for each product.
So let's say if my team wants to focus only on, let's say, Service Cloud. Okay. But when they give me the license, it's going to have the Sales Cloud and Marketing Cloud also included, right? Or are they only going to give me
only? When you say service, they will have Sales plus Service, right? Because you will still need those core objects of Sales Cloud, right? So service is basic. Yeah. So sales and service they will give you. Marketing is different, right? Community is just different. All others are different, right?
Yeah. But from the setup screen, I can do the basic configuration or the basic declarative approach I can take, right? Like if I want to create some workflow rules, or if I want to things are possible.
See, basic platform things. Okay, I will talk about that in next slide so that you understand a bit. I'll talk about the products and history. Okay. So this is what you were discussing, right? If you talk about Salesforce ecosystem, we hear a lot of different cloud, right? Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Community, Marketing Cloud, CPQ, Einstein, Field Service Lightning, a lot of things, right? So I'll just give you some background, right? So how this has been evolved. So Salesforce, when they started around in 1999, right? So what they started with was a sales cloud, right? Which was basically an application on cloud. It was just a software on a cloud which allowed you to manage sales cycle from anywhere. Basically, this was one of the first application on cloud, right? Where users can just log in from anywhere through browser and they could basically manage sale, right? So that was the selling point when they started, right? Moving from on-premise to cloud, right? Everything basically accessible from anywhere. That was the selling point. Now, after the launch of Sales Cloud, they started evolving, right? They expanding their product. So in basically, if you see around 2006, they launched something called as Apex. Apex is their proprietary programming language, right? Which basically allows you to code on the Salesforce platform, right? And then they also launched a UI framework called Visual Force. So using Visual Force, you can create your own custom pages, right? I mean, if you are not happy with what is provided out of the box, you can create your own page, right? So that's what they launched in 2016, and that made it more like a platform, right? I mean, if you see
Yep.
Sales Cloud, when they launched, it was just an application. By adding Apex and Visual Force, it became more like a platform where users can customize the application, they can program, they could uh, create their own pages, right? And then in 2008, about they came up with service. Sorry, 2008 or 9, they came up with Service Cloud, right, to manage basically case management and other service related features. Then around 2012, they came up with Marketing Cloud, right? And this Marketing Cloud was not basically a homegrown application. They acquired 2 3 different application, and and
I
that's
think
what you see.
Pardot was one of them, right?
Yeah. Then that was Marketing Cloud. Then they launched Communities in 2014, right? So Community is basically to manage larger group of people, like agents, employees, partners, right? So they launched Communities for 2014. Then on other thing on 2014 they did was they launched another UI framework. So far we were using Visual Force page, right? And Visual Force page was, and that time Salesforce, we called it as a classic platform, right? The reason was basically so in 2014 when they launched Lightning UI framework, it was completely they basically improved on their UI, and it was again a proprietary framework. They made it open source, but the main differentiation was that they moved away from page centric model of Visual Force to component centric model, right? I mean, in what we do using Lightning Aura is we create in a page, you can have multiple components, right? So instead of it basically improve, I mean, the whole idea was to do with mobile, right? In mobile, basically you need performance, and when they had this Visual Force page, right, it was a page centric. The entire you need basically entire page is processed on the server and loaded on the browser. So that was not suitable for mobile, right? Because that basically brings in latency, right? So that was the main reason they moved away from classic to Lightning. So in Lightning, they basically started with I mean, the idea was moving away from page centric model to component centric model, right? In a page you could have multiple different components interacting and giving you the whatever UI you needed. So that was more, I mean, that was suitable for mobile. Then if you see in the UI framework space again, in 2019 they basically improved further, and they launched something Lightning called Lightning Web Component, right? So, and today if you see, for all UI customization, right, we use Lightning Web Component, right? And what was the difference? I mean, why they went away from Aura to Lightning Web Component was more to do with the enhancement or the improvement that we have in the web standards, right? So Aura was more of a proprietary framework, and what they have done with LWC, they have aligned it to web standard, right? So when you say web standard, basically everything basically processed on the browser, right? I mean, web standard, basically when we say, I mean, your framework is basically aligned to your ECMAScript, right? I mean, there is, I mean, a lot of things, I mean, most of the things in LWC is processed by the browser, which makes, I mean, definitely it will improve the performance. In Aura, it has to be processed by
Yeah.
the framework on the server, whereas in LWC everything is processed on the browser. So it definitely adds a lot to the performance, right? So that's the reason, I mean, now today if you see everything for all UI customization, right, we use LWC.
So LWC
Then
is what? Lightning Web Component. That is like how you can edit the Lightning page and you can create a customized
see,
Lightning page. That one you're
yeah,
talking about?
yeah. So if you see, right, all these cloud, right, you talk about Sales Cloud, Service Cloud. As I said, for customize, when you talk about say Salesforce customization, there are two things, right? One is basically they have provided you programming capabilities using Apex, right? You can write your trigger, backend processes, right? I mean, when something happens, you want to process something, right? You can have some synchronous processing, you can have some asynchronous processing, you can have some integrations, right? Everything made can be coded through Apex, right? Second thing is UI customization. Now, for all the application, you are getting you are getting out of the box pages. Now, what out of the box when we say, I mean, Salesforce is providing you page layouts, right? Page layouts is out of the box. When you see the records, it is basically out of the box page layout, right? And then for each of the product, they're also now giving you a lot of pre-built Lightning web component. Now, if you're not happy with what is provided out of the box in terms of UI that you see, you can customize it, right? You can create your own components. You can create your own component. Like suppose say in FSC we will talk about live events, right? I want to see live events. Now live event I can see as a related list, right? In Salesforce you see that for all the related objects you have a related list, right? In related list you can see all the records. But if you need a better UI representation where user can quickly see all the live events, I mean better UI representation, you will create your own Lightning web component, right? So LWC is basically for UI customization, right? You want to replace something which is provided out of the box, or you want to create something new, right? Anything on the screen that you want to see, the UI component, right? It's created using Lightning web component. Previously I mean you had Visual Force, then Aura, and now it is LWC.
Yep.
And any part of component, right? What you see on the UI, any part. So basically using LWC, you can very much create your own custom application, which you can do with say Angular or React. You can compare it with very much with Angular and React, right? They are also kind of a UI framework which is aligned to web standard. So LWC is also very much comparable with Angular or React. You can create completely custom application with custom application where you just use Salesforce as a backend layer. I mean, you use the Salesforce data model, you use the Salesforce as a storage, and then create your own custom application using LWC, right? And people have done that. I mean, we have seen application where completely custom application on Salesforce platform using this UI framework.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Can I ask a question, or do you want to move on?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
One more thing is like in our, we haven't even gone that far yet, but we are in the process of defining the the high level requirements. But I just wanted to ask you one question. Like let's say for example, I want to do a custom app, and I want to have accounts, I want to have opportunities, and I want to have different let's say I want to have live events, I want to have, so it's a basically I want to have multiple objects, okay, coming from various applications. Like from sales I want to take a few standard objects, from service I want to take a few standard objects, from financial services cloud I want to take something, let's say. So is it possible to basically customize like that? Because I know it is possible to customize sales and service like that, and then you can have your own custom objects and then create a whole thing. But is it possible to also bring some elements of the financial services cloud and then build your custom app? Is that also possible?
Yeah. See, for each of these clouds, right, what Salesforce gives you is data model, right? You get data model, I mean different objects, right? If you talk about sales cloud, you have object, service cloud, you have its own object, FSC, it has its own objects, and plus you get your other things, background processes, Lightning web components, right? Visual Force pages, whatever it is. So when you say, I mean, you want to build application using combination of things, you can always do that, right? I mean, you want to use some objects from data model of sales cloud, some objects from data model of service cloud, some from FSC. You can do that. I mean, I mean, you are free to, I mean, develop in whatever way you want. Just that for licensing, what you need, I mean, you need to have those licenses and you need to have those objects available to use.
Okay, great. I think so. I have to tell Salesforce that okay, I need all these three licenses. I want financial services cloud license. I need sales and service cloud license, so that I can pick and choose the objects from their data models, accordingly. So I need to
Correct.
basically ask for the three licenses then, right?
Correct.
So
I mean, they
another
will
thing,
I mean,
yeah.
see again, licensing, as I said, I mean, they have a very flexible model on licensing, right? You can talk to them, you can negotiate with them. I mean, they can give you license which is suitable for your requirement, right? You may not need everything for, say, sales service cloud. You are just interested in few objects, or say, FSC, you are interested in just few objects. I mean, they can customize a license for you.
And the other thing is, so let's say when we do development, like we need sandboxes, correct? I mean,
Hmm.
uh,
Hmm.
so So in the sandbox environment, I need, let's say, some, some developer copies. I need some partial copies, full copies, whatever. So in this kind of a situation, because the licensing model basically at the production level is basically like one user per month. Okay, like whatever licensing fee it is, like $150 or whatever. So it is going to be one user per month. So if I so they are going to, if I take a $150 like per user per month license, they're also going to give me some sandboxes. How
So
many
that
users
is
can use sandbox?
that is again will depend on the license, right? What you get. I mean, see, for sandboxes, again, I mean, how many users you would require, right? So I mean, again, that you can check with them on the cost. But I mean, they give you license based on your all these requirements, right? How many you need for sandboxes, and how many you need for production, all that. But I mean, even
Mhm.
for sandbox, you need license, right? I mean, you cannot use it for free.
Correct, correct, absolutely. Yeah, that's why I was asking this question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you,
So
sir. Thank you.
licensing, as I said, I mean, see, for each product that you see, they have a license, and cost is basically again depends on how many users and all those things, and they can customize for you. I mean, that's what I know. I mean, suppose say I have seen where say FSC also. I mean, if somebody required say only some basic objects to access or some basic feature, I mean, you can talk to them, and they can basically you can negotiate on the price, right? So I think those
Right,
teams they are flexible, I guess, on those front.
right, right.
Okay. So what we have talked about is as a platform, right? What they offer you is a programming language and UI framework, which very much you can customize and build your own application. And then they provide you sales, service, communities, marketing, CPQ, field service, Tableau, all those things, right? And in the space of analytics and reporting, again, current product that they have is called as Tableau CRM, right? And there is again history of acquisition and rebranding of this product, right? I mean, they started way back in sometimes around 2012, 13. They started acquiring some products, and then they launched, their first product was web analytics. They launched it,
But
I think, 2000.
okay, sorry to interrupt. I mean, please. I want to know Encino. Is that a Encino has been built on the Salesforce platform? That's what I understand. But Encino is a different company, right? Encino is, why
Yeah,
is it
that's
saying?
yeah, I'm coming to that. So what I was talking in the analytics space, you will hear Tableau CRM, right? So Tableau, if I talk about their how they have evolved Tableau, they started with web analytics, right? Then they came up with Einstein Analytics somewhere around 2017, 18, and then they acquired Tableau, right? They acquired Tableau in 2019, and what they did basically is they brought kind of
Mhm.
best of Tableau and best of Einstein. Einstein had a good analytics capability for Salesforce platform, right? Einstein Discovery, and then Tableau has very strong on the reporting and visualization part, right? So what they have done is basically they have brought together kind of best of Tableau and best of Einstein, and what you and basically they rebranded it again to Tableau CRM. So today you see on the product from Salesforce for reporting and analytics is Tableau CRM. Okay. Then on the integration side, they acquired Multisoft in 2018, right? And today they are basically very much promoting Multisoft for integration or as a middle layer, right?
Yeah,
So other than that, the recent acquisition Slack, right? So in 2021, they acquired Slack, and Slack is basically we know, right? It's basically for collaboration, and what how it works for Salesforce is basically a lot of things can be done through collaboration, right? Creating some cases or creating some leads, very much they are integrating to the Slack, right? So uh, and then you will see app exchange, right? So app exchange, there is a lot of pre-built application which are built by different vendors, right? There are a lot of in ISVs, right? So these are all ISVs are different companies, right? So that's what you are talking about. There are different companies who are basically developing application on Salesforce platform, right? So I have just listed here some very successful ones that you will hear, right? Velocity was one of the very successful ISV, I mean, on Salesforce platform, right? So they
What is
basically
ISV? What is full form of ISV?
uh, mm, independent service vendor, right? Just Google it, Salesforce ISV.
Yeah, okay. So I know about Encino, but I don't know about Velocity and Viva. What is Velocity? I mean,
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. So Velocity is was basically Velocity has had a product bundle which they built on Salesforce platform. Now, what Velocity focused was more on industry, right? They had solution for a lot of industry. They had some 6, 7 different products, but they were more successful on telecom domain, and also little bit on they had some clients on insurance, on health, right? And they also have a government cloud and other thing. But what I know that they were more successful. I mean, there's 50-60% of revenue came from telecom domain, right? So what they did was basically they provided industry specific solutions. So for telco industry, they had a specialized CPQ. I mean, their core, see, basically they also provide their own tools for configuring and customizing the application. You will hear Omni Studio, right? It was previously called Velocity platform. Now Salesforce has, when Salesforce acquired it in 2 years back, basically they have taken Velocity and rebranded it as Salesforce Industry, right? So today when you hear Salesforce Industry, a lot of products are coming from Velocity. Okay. So Velocity had its own development platform called it was called Velocity platform. Now it is called Omni Studio. Omni Studio is again a product. Basically, it provides its own tools. You will hear Data Raptor, Omni Script, right? So what is Omni Script is basically it allows you to create guided flow. Okay. So suppose say you are generating quote for say insurance, right? So for generating quote, I mean, you have some 10 step process. You collect all the details. You collect, based on customer details and all the history, you recommend some products, right? You then provide some pricing for the product. You allow customer to configure, I mean, choose some options in the product. You reprice it, right? And then you generate the quotation. So for entire thing, you can create a guided flow, right? It's where you can compare it with Salesforce flow, right? Salesforce flow, right? It basically for
yeah,
creating similar thing. So Velocity, I mean, it's very kind of a improved version of flow in terms of creating the guided flow. So the platform allowed you to create
are you,
guided
are you
flow.
are you talking about the path of Salesforce path?
No, 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 I'm not talking about path seasons. Salesforce automation tool, right? In Salesforce automation, previously they had workflow rule, process builder, and flow.
Flow builder
Flow
now
builder,
you're talking.
flow builder, yeah. And now very much it is flow builder, right? So you can compare it with flow builder. So they had Omni script where you can create guided flow. Plus, so basically when you bought a product for a specific industry, what they provided you is pre-built guided flows, basically, right? Suppose say I implemented for one of the auto insurance. So what we got is readily available flows for say quote generation or policy administration. So I could just take it as a base component and then basically customize it and basically enhance it as per my requirement, right? So that's Velocity, right? I mean, for each, so they have solution for each of a lot of 5, 6 different industries. So what Salesforce did was they basically acquired Velocity and they rebranded it as Salesforce Industries. So today when you go to this URL, right, you just Google it for Salesforce Industry, you will see a lot of products, right? One is through acquisition of Velocity, plus Salesforce is also focusing a lot. I mean, if you see, I mean, they have already done a lot for the platform, right? You have a very robust UI framework in LWC. Apex as a language, they already takes care of most of things in CRM space: sales cloud, service cloud, marketing cloud, field service lighting. They have taken care of analytics and reporting through Tableau. They have taken care of integration layer, right, through Multisoft. And now in recent past, what they're doing, they're focusing more on industry. So basically, if you see, their focus is kind of to provide end-to-end solution, right? Not just using kind of a Salesforce just as a UI layer to collect the data, but more to basically provide you end-to-end solution, like middle layer solution, or back layer solution, right? End-to-end solution, right? Like if you talk about, say, insurance, right? I should be able to generate quote, I should be able to uh, enroll for the policy, I should be able to administer, I should provide the administration capability on the policy, payment capability, right? All those, everything they're bringing on the Salesforce platform. So I mean, you don't have to go for any other product. That's the whole idea, right? So they have a specialized product in each space.
So that
Okay.
velocity is going to help achieve that, right?
Yeah, so Velocity is a history now. It was until 2020 they acquired by Salesforce, and what they have done is they are now, see, I mean, Salesforce is evolving very fast, right? What they have take, I mean, basically even Velocity, what they did, they utilized the data model of Salesforce. When you see their financial products, right? What they did is they basically used even FSC data model, right? And they had their own product. So now what Salesforce is doing is they're combining best of their capability and what they have got from the Velocity. They are not using as is, right? They have basically kind of taken the best of Velocity and best of what they had, and combined together, and still they are evolving, right? Each of this area, like if I talk about financial services cloud, there is nothing that you get from Velocity. It's completely Salesforce own grown system.
So going forward, do you think that most of the solutions that will be offered from Salesforce would actually be industry specific, and that they would not come out as clouds, but they would have a different name, something like that?
No, no.
Is
See, these are all cloud, right? So, see, that's what I was saying. They are basically parallelly working on two areas, right? One is your platform, right? Continuously evolving as a platform, right? Right. And second thing, different clouds to take care of different industry, right? I mean, sales cloud, service cloud, very much kind of a vanilla thing, right? I mean, you get basic sales cloud features, basic service cloud features. But if you are using sales cloud and service cloud for any industry, say you are using for financial, you will very much you will have to customize everything, right? You don't get any out of the box data model for, you are talking about KYC. Now for KYC, Sales Cloud doesn't offer you any out of the box data model.
correct.
You will
Yeah.
you will create your custom objects. But when
Okay.
I take Financial Services Cloud, maybe you might get few things out of the box related to KYC, right? So what I'm saying, that this industry cloud basically gives you specialization, right? I mean, on top of your vanilla sales and service cloud, you get a specialized data model. See, if you see any of these industry solution, what it offers you, it basically offers you two three things. One, I mean, two things basically. One is data model, right? Every industry has a specific data model, right? Financial services would have a different data model. If I talk about retail, it would have completely different data model. Public sector would have different data model, right? So basically it is giving you based on industry knowledge, right? It has created a base data model that you can use. It may not suit you 100%. You may still need to create some custom objects, but it may save you, say, 60 or 70% of your effort on creating or maintaining custom objects. You will get, say, 60 or 70% out of the box, right?
Right.
Then that's the data model. And second thing, based on the knowledge, the industry knowledge Salesforce has accumulated, right? What people do on financial services, what people do on any industry, right? They're providing you out of the box solution, right? So if I talk about, say, Financial Services Cloud, so get compliant data sharing, right? So it knows that when in customers in financial services industry sometimes work on financial deal, right, which needs to be managed in a very compliant manner. So it has provided you a specialized solution for compliant data sharing, right? So same way for household, when you talk about in financial industry, people may be interested in knowing the ecosystem of the group, right? A group could be a family, right? So basically what they're doing is based on their knowledge of the industry, they are giving you out of the box solution for specific use cases, or commonly used or commonly required use cases, right? Which people mostly, if you're not using those industry solutions, then probably you are creating a custom solution, right? If I say whatever today FSC offers me, right? If I'm not using FSC license, then what I'm doing is, say if I need to manage customers goals, financial goal or life event, or say even financial data, roll up or groups, right? I will create a custom application, and people have done that, right? So if I'm using FSC as a industry offering from Salesforce, I'll be saved of those effort, right? Creating custom data model, creating custom components, right? It may, again, I mean, it is not 100%, right? I mean, 60 to 70% or 80% you might be able to achieve out of the box, and remaining you will still have to customize your as per your requirement. But yeah, so that's what I mean, any industry solution gives you. I mean, industry aligned data model and the solution for common use cases of that industry.
So what is Viva?
Yeah, so Viva is again a all industry solution. You asked about Encino, right? So Encino is basically for commercial lending, right? They are
Yeah.
a specialized product for commercial lending, and very successful. I mean, they have, I mean, what I have seen that, if you're using Encino, kind of 90% you can, whatever functionality it has to offer, 90% can be achieved out of the box. So they're very successful in commercial lending space. A lot of financial companies are using Encino. Now Viva is more for life science, pharma domain, and they have again a few products. I'm aware of a product called Viva CRM. So Viva CRM basically, my experience has been, I mean, we used it for one of the company for basically order management. So basically they gives you application on which you can access on iPad, and their sales rep basically use that for taking orders when they visit pharmacy, hospitals, right, doctors. So they use it for basically taking orders, and also for sample management. The sample that they distribute, that is also managed through this application. So
Okay.
yeah, that's Viva. Viva again is very successful one in life science and pharma domain. They have few more products, Viva CRM. Then there is also Viva. Yeah, there are one or two more products. But
Right.
again, yeah, again industry specific. They are in pharma and life science. Encino is completely in commercial lending, and Velocity is. I mean, Velocity is now history, but they had 4 or 5 different industry that they focused on. So today, if you go to this the URL that I have listed, right, industries, right, you will see all these industries. You can go and read about this industry, and this list is ever expanding, right? I mean, every year you will see some or the other addition, right? So I mean, Salesforce, right, it's evolving very fast. So that's about Salesforce industry. So
MuleSoft integration helps in what? Under platform tools and capabilities, you've got MuleSoft integration.
So MuleSoft, you will have some middle layer for integration, right? I mean, in any of your application, right? Maybe it could be FPG, or it could be maybe Informatica Cloud. Something you will have to see. Basically, when you talk about integration, right? It could be two approach. It could be a point-to-point integration, right? Which is not a good approach. And second one is having a ESB layer in between, right?
Like an ETL kind of a middleware, you're saying.
See, ESB, ETL is one thing. ETL basically, so it takes care of transformation as well. But basically, see, I mean, the idea is to avoid point-to-point integration. You understand point to point, right? So you are basically, say you have a legacy system, you have, say, Salesforce, your KYC application. Now if you need integration between these two applications, you can very much build a point to point integration, where, say, if it is, say, outbound integration from Salesforce, on the legacy side you will have an API built. You will call that API, and whatever you want to perform, you can perform. All the logic will remain on the either on client side or on the server side, right? So that's point to point integration. Now if you see this point to point integration, it's highly uh, tightly coupled integration, right? It's tightly coupled between two applications. Now suppose there is another application which wants to use the integration, right? A lot of things will have to be duplicated, right? Whatever you are doing today on the KYC application, that other application will also have to basically duplicate the thing, right? Like, say you are calling that API, then doing some logic you have built on the client side, some logic you have built on the server side. So basically, any change that you have to bring into this integration, right, there would be a lot of effort on all the systems involved, right? So normally people will avoid today, if you see most of the enterprise applications, I mean, people will have some or the other ESB layer, right? So ESB layer takes care of it. Basically kind of make your, different systems loosely coupled, right? I mean, you will have an API. The API will be basically will be provided by the say MuleSoft or integration layer, right? So everyone who needs to call will be calling the same layer, and it would be same API, and all the logic will remain on the MuleSoft. All transformation that you need to do, all logic that you need to have, everything will remain in the middle layer, right? So if anything has to change, it has to change in one place.
Right, got it.
You would have heard APG, and there is also product from Tibco. A lot of products are there for integration, right? So now since Salesforce has, you would be hearing a lot of different names for it, ESB layer, right? But now since Salesforce has acquired MuleSoft, and now most of the solution they would be pushing MuleSoft, right? But still, I mean, you will, if client has, and most of the people will say in city, you may say if you're developing something new, right? You may already have some middle layer, right? You may be using say APG or something else, right? So you will continue to use, but wherever Salesforce see an opportunity where people are moving to say from some legacy to transforming their whole entire application, then yeah, they will definitely push MuleSoft, right? So otherwise, I mean, previously they did not have any product in this area, right? They were basically using whatever provided, right? So I have seen people using Jitterbit and FPG Informatica Cloud, right?
Yeah,
So
sure. Thank you.
you got it, right? So what Salesforce has to offer as a platform, what Salesforce offers you different clouds, and Salesforce offers you different industry solutions.
Correct. Yes.
Now let's talk about a little bit on financial services cloud, right? So
Mhm.
basically, when we say how it helps, right? It basically helps advisors and bankers, help them have meaningful relationship with their customer, focus on customer need by becoming customer centric, provide their customer with personalized experience and goal-based advice. So basically, if you see, I mean, this is standard thing which everyone is doing today, right? You are no more. Most of the people are today focusing on customer centric, right? I mean, you will not be, kind of pushing the product to customer without knowing what customer may need and what's the customer's situation today, right? You would basically want to know what is that customer need today, right? And then you will try to align your product to the customer need, right? That's what the approach today, right, in the market, right? It's
Right.
always aligning your product to customer need, right? So that is where customer 360 or the information that you get about the customer becomes very very critical, right? Knowing everything about customer is very important, right? Like, I mean, what is the financial goal that customer is tracking? Like, say if you have information, say that customer is basically he has a goal of buying a house, right? Buying a house, and he may be targeting a goal say in next 6 months time, right? Then that you have a opportunity for mortgage, right? You may create a referral or opportunity for a mortgage, right? Same
Mhm.
way, I mean, if you are tracking different life event of the customer, right? Today that customer just bought a car, right? That he may require a insurance, auto insurance, right? So basically all the information that you get about customer, right, as part of your customer 360 gives you different opportunities, right? Knowing customers interest, right? What customer could be interested in his personal or professional life, right? What is his investment habits, right? So very much, I mean, you as an advisor or bankers, you would want to have a kind of a consolidated view in a customer 360 where you would want to know everything about customer, right? So I mean, suppose when I start my interaction, or when I'm going to interact with customer, I mean, when I look at the customer 360, I would want to know everything. Say, I mean, even if say you're dealing with big personality, and there was some news in the market about that person, right? You don't want to be missing on that. You don't want to be googling that, right? I mean, as part of customer 360, I want to see that if that person was in some limelight or some news in last week, and I'm going for interaction with the customer, that information should pop up on my customer 360, and I should know that this was something about I mean, basically, when you're talking to customer, I mean, he should feel that everything about that customer, right? And the advice that you are giving him is basically in the best interest of him, right? Knowing everything will basically, advisor would be able to write product for him, right? So that is where, I mean, the whole idea of customer 360, and that's what the core capability of FSC, right? Everything that we'll see, I mean, will basically, focus on giving you basically a view for the bankers and advisor to, take the right decision and making it more like a need-based selling. And then obviously, I mean, we'll see different productivity tools that it has to offer that basically helps to improve the bankers' productivity, right, using the tools. Okay.
Will you also help me in downloading the application? Like there is a
Yeah,
free
yeah,
version available.
I'm going into that. Yeah. So next, I will talk about where FSC fits in, right? So if you see, I mean, this is kind of how the platform looks like, right? So FSC, as I said, it is basically add-on, right? It always sits on top of Sales or Service Cloud, right? It is basically an extension of Sales or Service, right? It gives you basically additional data model, additional industry features, right? So if you see in this page, right, what I'm showing that it is basically you have all the applications like sales, service, marketing, community analytics in the top in the layer, and then above that layer you have financial services cloud. So it will sit basically on top of your sales and service cloud,